the Facilities Committee, the 20th of January at 2:46 p.m. The first order of business is the approval of the minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes? I guess we should do a roll call, huh?
Yes.
All right, why don't we do that?
If you'd like, give it a few moments to make sure I have everything ready. All right. Legislator Ryan?
Here.
Legislator Thompson?
Here.
Legislator Bush?
Here.
Legislator Hernandez?
Here.
Legislator McCarron?
Here.
I made the list.
Great. Thank you. Any corrections to the minutes? Alrighty, seeing none, the minutes are approved. We are going to go to the first item on the agenda. This is the Board of Elections. This is in the capital improvement plan. I understand it's in the budget. I did ask for some bonding legislation to be written up. It's not going to be on the agenda, so we're really just talking about things here, folks. In relation to bonding, I've been advised there's typically a 60-day window from the time bonding legislation is sent to outside counsel. I understand there's some flexibility in that process, including whether items first move through finance and how they align with agenda placement. As a practical matter, the cutoff for agenda inclusion is generally the second Friday of each month, meaning items sent out will not appear on the next agenda for the following month's agenda. I've asked CFO Christy Smiley to have the Board of Elections roof bonding legislation drafted, and she indicated she would share that request with the Executive's office. We also sought clarification on whether the legislature may request that bonding legislation be sent out. It was made clear that it is not restricted by the charter, but rather reflects a historical practice. I'm not interested in disputing that process at this time. What I am asking for is mutual consideration of legislative priorities and their advancement to outside bond counsel. I have asked the anticipated bonding items be shared with the legislature when they are sent to outside bond counsel, so members are informed early and not placed in a position where delays caused by insufficient information or late communication can be mischaracterized as legislative inaction or stalling. So we have 3 commissioners here today, 2 from the Board of Elections and the Facilities Commissioner. I'm going to start with my favorite, and that's going to be Commissioner Whitson, because he and I have never spoke before. So, would you like to tell us about the Board of Elections roof project, and would you like to see for us? Sure. Thank you so much.
You never spoken to me before. How was your favorite?
Because you two are like going.
Because he has spoken to us. So
He's not neutral. You guys are.
Good afternoon. For those of you that I haven't met before, I'm Archie Wixon, Commissioner of Facilities. I've been with, I started as Deputy Commissioner of Facilities in spring 2010, and I've since become the Commissioner in 2017. And I'm here to answer any of your questions. Or if you want me to explain where we're headed with this, I can start.
You know, I think there's a lot of people that have some thoughts on this, so if you just want to give a quick overview of how you arrived at this point for it being put into the capital improvement plan.
So we've known for some time that there's been some chronic leaking and some trouble and difficulty with various roof sections at the Board of Elections. Since we developed the Board of Elections in 2011, we have replaced a couple of roof sections. So there's actually 4 roof sections on the Board of Elections, different tiering of roof heights. And this is the last roof section, and it's a critical roof section. It's over the office area, it's over the break room, it's over the mechanical areas, it's over the restrooms, it's over the public area, the training area. This is made at the front of the building as you're facing it. And this is the last roof section that we need to replace in this time frame. So we have taken courses of action in maintenance and repairs of the roof, and we do respond very quickly with our term service roofing contractor whenever we're made aware of a leaking roof section. I could go through various reasons and things of the roof. Not all of it is because of the age of the roof. We do have a tree line that encroaches on the building that tends to defoliate and clog the drains. Once those drains back up onto the roof more than around 6 inches. It gets under the copings of the equipment curbs for the rooftop air handling systems. And we do get leaking in there, and some of that leaking actually will travel along the ductwork, and it will leak into various areas of the building. When we originally renovated that building and turned it over to the Board of Elections, that was 2011. We started in late 2010, we completed it late 2011. Our strategy, and it was determined through roof inspections at that time, that roof had another 15 to 20 year lifespan, and that was based on information we had from the previous owner as well as on-site inspections from roofing experts. So we did delay investing in a roof until it ended its useful life, and that's where we are today with it. We have had leaks in the or on the roof because of the scuppers actually getting clogged too with ice. So ice will clog those scuppers, which are all part of the green infrastructure program from some years ago. And that's where it discharges roof water into the rain gardens that we have on the side and the front of the building. That's all part of the sustainable practices that we do. When they're not clear, they act like a blockade, and they pond up, and the water finds its way, because water does, at the least resistance to wherever it can leak. We've had leaks that have been caused by birds eating on the roof, where I've actually got 3 different buildings that we have this problem at, where they will pick up, their chicken wings from a downtown event, and they will peck at the roof while they're eating, the things. So we've had to repair those leaks. We've had a couple of leaks that, are probably just by age and deterioration of the roof membranes and the seals and the flashing. So we've had various reasons for it. We were successful last year in bringing the CIP plan to include money to replace this roof section. And we believe that money is sufficient to replace this roof and actually elevate the air handlers and build up the curbs on those rooftop equipments, so we can have less of an opportunity for even the overflow into the, when drains do get clogged, because that's still going to happen even with a new roof.
So this is the last leg of the roof project. There's been how many, roof fixes here? Just
Oh, we've had dozens of.
But no big projects like this.
So 3 years ago, I replaced a roof section. It wasn't $500,000. It was, I think, around 280,000. It was a section over the warehouse, and we've replaced a section on the rear warehouse. This is the lowest section, and it's again the most problematic, and it's the section that's most complicated with the rooftop equipment and exhaust penetrations.
Commissioner Ryan and Sarni, I know you guys are working out of there every day. I've heard some complaints, if you'd like to share those with us.
Well, I think my office in the back of the building is closest to the tree line, which, as Commissioner indicated, defoliates, and so I've had situations this year where I've had standing water in my office when I came in the morning, but I will say that facilities has been very responsive to us, and whenever we've made a request, we've had somebody on site within 90 minutes to 2 hours to fix it and rectify the problem, and they've taken appropriate steps to mitigate the damage as well. But the problem as I foresee it, and again, I'm a new commissioner, having just taken office a year ago this week, that the number of times they're coming out here so often in the wintertime, it's just enough stuff. I mean, again, I remember when the building was turned over to the Board of Elections, because at the time my uncle sat in Dustin's chair, your father, and I remember when they converted that building from the candy and tobacco warehouse, and there was a lot of work done then, and it's reached the end of its useful life, and so I'm really pleased that the administration put in this money for the new roof last year in the budget, and I am hopeful that this legislature will see clear to get it done for us.
I'm absolutely 100% supportive of the final piece of the roof. I mean, there is, we do have leaks even over the replaced sections because of what the commissioner said with the trees. We had one the other day that was leaking on our equipment in the back. The good news is that the equipment we selected has really weather proofing tops on it, so nothing was exposed, nothing was damaged, and they came out within 1 to 2 hours. The only bow I'll put on this is that eventually, once this roof is replaced, we are going to need replacement of the carpeting that is inside of our building, because the carpeting itself, because of all these multiple leaks, it's the same carpeting that we had in 2011, so that needs to be replaced anyways. But because of all these leaks, we're worried about mold and stuff like that that's inside of that stuff. So we've had discussions with facilities about this. It doesn't make any sense to do it now until that roof is replaced, but once it is, I think it's time to start looking at new carpeting, and we'll put that in for a future request as well.
Archie, the trees ours or these neighboring properties' trees?
Neighboring properties. So the biggest, excuse me, go ahead.
No, that's it. That's what I was just curious.
The biggest problem with the trees is the rear of the building, well, the side of the building, which is the Erie Boulevard side.
Right.
And we abut right up against the CSX property. So we're literally less than 3 feet from the property line of CSX. And those trees on that hillside
Go down,
that are up, up the embankment where the raised tracks are, those aren't our trees. And some years ago, we engaged CSX and talked about it, and they were very adverse to agreeing to taking those trees down because they believe that those trees are erosion control on that embankment for the railroad tracks.
Archie, we had many conversations about this, and thank you for your advocacy for this. I just had a question, and I'm listening to the damage on the roof. Is it a flat roof?
You would consider it flat. There are slight pitches and pockets that convey the rainwater, the storm water to a depressed area in the roof. But visually, you would think it's flat. It's got very low pitches to drain areas.
So the scope of work you're looking to do is just the roof and raising those HVACs. Commissioner Rand, did you have other scopes of work that you were concerned about?
Well, we do have other scopes of work right now, particularly the carpet, which again is original to the renovation, which makes it 15 years old. It would need to be replaced on its best day, but again, with the number of leaks and possible molding we've had, it needs to be replaced. And but again, it makes no sense to do that until the roof is done, because we're only going to have more. I don't want to have leaks on a new carpet, and and this is something I've had conversations with Commissioner Wixon about anyway, because we're actually building two offices in our space to accommodate growth in our staff. And so there is stuff to be done, mainly cosmetic, new carpeting, painting of the walls, again, none of which has been done since the BOE's been in there, but none of it makes sense to do now. I don't want to have it done while the new roof is being put on or when construction is being done, because I don't want to see the new product damaged. I don't think that's a sound use of the taxpayer dollars. I would rather see, we can wait. That stuff can wait. It's been there long enough, it can wait another few months.
There's one other thing that I'm trying to work on with the city, just to put out there, because we have our parking lot that's across the street that's for our employees for when it's busy, and I'm trying to work with the city to get some kind of crosswalk over there. It's a 4-lane road, which is problematic. They don't want to put a crosswalk in because it's a 4-lane road, but people are flying around that bend you got that railroad bridge, they're coming around that bend. I think I've almost been hit like 4 or 5 times coming out of there in the last few years too. I'm trying to talk to them about some traffic control over there to try to slow down the vehicles, so that when our employees are walking across the street, many times early in the morning or late at night during election season, that there is some kind of, there's no sidewalks on that area. There's no way to even get down to the other crosswalk, which is pretty far away to have some employees to walk down to have controlled crossing. So there is a controlled crossing just a few blocks down by the old D&D offices that they're used to. I'm trying to get them to do the same exact thing over at us, but so far, I think the change in administration has slowed down that request, but I'm gonna hope that I'm gonna renew those conversations with the new administration.
Safety is important.
Yeah, there's, and on that note about safety, one thing I have spoken with Commissioner Wixon about and Chris Reedy is about security in our building.
Mhm.
Right now, when someone walks in the front door, all they need to do is walk through a door to get into the area where our staff works. So what I've asked for is swipe access on 2 doors that lead to the office portion of the building and a gate that comes down over the counter, because there have been situations, particularly in the last few years, where elections officials have been targets of violence because of people who believe that our elections are not as secure as they otherwise might be. So this is something that I've been working with security on, and I understand that Chris Reedy will be accompanying Johnson Controls out tomorrow to conduct a survey. And I don't think this is going to be a tremendously expensive fix, just simply installing a gate over the 2 counters and swipe access on 2 of the doors. But this is again something that we do have in the works, which I commend the administration for, because it is a problem. It's been a problem that's been identified nationwide, and it's something that our administration thankfully is being proactive on.
So I would agree, yes, and I've recently spoke with Chris and Johnson Controls. We've got several security projects going on around the downtown area, which you guys have, which our legislature has previously approved. We're probably about halfway through those. So there may be some other considerations. I think they're gonna do a little bit of a building assessment and a survey while they're down there. If I may, speak on a couple other things that we're going to be doing in the building. There are work orders right now for some requests for repainting of the area. Of course, some new carpeting. We're in the like you just mentioned to you, we're about to create some renovations in the office environment right now. We've ordered the material. When it comes in, we'll begin. We don't want to begin until we have it in hand. Otherwise we're disturbing them for a while. The rolling coil gate that was discussed, we are reviewing that. It was in the original building project, and the previous Democratic commissioner didn't want it, so we took it out of there.
Imagine living with it, right?
It was back in 2011, so we'll talk about it. So we have several things. The painting, I believe, is going to begin in the near future. In and around all the areas, they have the rigid flooring sections. So either the concrete floors, the VCT floors, the ceramic tile floors. The front entrance is rigid flooring. We're just going to avoid painting in the area where the carpet's going to have to be removed. So,
There are some recent projects that I would love to since there's a lot of new legislators that they're aware of, that the federal cybersecurity grant allowed us to put in a generator at the building. So, and that was recently completed. And the original security that is in there was all due because we had this federal cybersecurity grant, and we used that money to put in the existing cameras and swipe access that we're hoping to upgrade. But that was all through a federal cybersecurity grant. So I always like to, point out when we're using grant money for those types of improvements. We always try to use grant money when it's available. Unfortunately, the national environment and even the state environment is not as forthcoming with money as they have been in the past.
there's also been a request to do some maintenance and repairs to some of the parking surfaces there. So we'll be looking at those in the spring. Most of the parking repairs, the roofing, some of the other stuff, we should be able to, once we've made determinations on the direction we're headed with it and made those decisions, we'll be using, our current term contracts that we have, so, you know, so there can be an acceleration of that effort.
Legislators, questions?
I do have a question going back to the parking and, that crosswalk thing. Thank you for the safety. You say you were working with the city of Syracuse. Does the city of Syracuse own that property over there where employees?
No, but
sometimes park?
they control the roads,
They
so, and the city of Syracuse would be the one that would install the sidewalks and also the crosswalk that we would hope that they would install. They just haven't said yes to that yet.
Yeah.
Advocacy to them would be helpful. I think
No,
would be
I
very
understand
helpful.
that. I was more asking because, at one time I know legislator Charles Garland has mentioned that the owner of that property, the crosswalk meeting over there, was thinking about selling that property.
So that owner has approached the county several times to sell the property. The most recent time was in the end of 2024. The county determined, we don't control that. The county decided that they didn't want to purchase it. At one point, the reason he said he wanted to sell it was he had somebody that was going to buy the rest of the property over there and develop it. I don't think that ever panned out. So we are worried that eventually, if they do sell that property that we are leasing for those, that parking, and we are left without parking, with the limited parking we have, especially when we have inspectors over for classes and election day. It's not just 1 day or 2 days. It's, we have like about 8 weeks worth of inspector classes that we have to fulfill every year, and it's 20 extra cars per class, so we have our employees park across the street. That could be a problem. If we lost that lease of that parking over there, that would be a major problem for the board. It's one of the reasons why we don't have a polling site on site or an early voting site on site, because we don't have enough parking over there to facilitate that.
I have a question for the commissioners. It's, I think everyone here probably at the table recognizes the merit of this project, and I just want to give you the opportunity to speak on this because I was talking to a colleague, friend of mine, and about, okay, what committees are you going to be doing? What sort of things are you looking at? And I mentioned the idea of the roof on the BOE, and he's like, well, who cares about that? Because he thought everything I should be doing should be directly related to constituents. I know Chad cares. Yes, Chad cares the most. So could you perhaps just, for the record, speak to the benefit to the taxpayers and constituents do this work on the BOE?
Well, because again, there's valuable equipment throughout the office, be it office equipment, not to mention voting machines out in our warehouse, which costs a lot of money. Fortunately, we have the clear ballot machine, which comes in a case, but still we had one which had a leak, and when we opened it, there was a puddle of water 2 inches deep in there, and the machine sustained it, but that works until it doesn't. Not to mention, when the roof continues to leak and you have water in the carpets and in the ductwork, you have the potential for black mold, and I wouldn't want to see this county get sued over and my employees get sick because of environmental hazards been caused by neglect of the building. So you can tell your constituent that this is important to make sure that the county employees have safe places to work in.
And also, I point out that we have 308,000 voters in Onondaga County, and we service all of them every election. Not all of them bother to turn out, but in the presidential election, 240,000 of them voted in this last election. If we don't have a safe place to provide that democracy service to them, that's about 2/3 of the county, three-quarters of the county that don't have a place to vote or don't have the proper facilities to update their registration, to get their return ballots, their absentee ballots, their vote-by-mail ballots. So, I think people have the misguided information that boards of elections only work 2 days a year. Every election vet has like 6 to 8 months worth of prep work that needs to go into it, and we have about 5 elections a year. So we are constantly working on 2 or 3 elections at the same time, and we're very frugal with our dollars, and we're very efficient in how much money we spend over at the board compared to other boards of elections. That is all on our website.
Yeah, bear in mind, to follow up on that, we are already actively preparing for the 2026 election. So we certify on one day, and then we give the staff the weekend off, and then we start certifying, we're working on 26 already, so.
Thank you, I appreciate the work you both do. Heating and cooling, are HVAC units on the roof, or
They're on the roof.
is that impacted by the repairs?
So, yes, it is. They're not damaged by the leaking, right, because they're basically
Right.
above it, and they, to some degree, they're a contributor to the leak. Because like the curbs aren't high enough, and sometimes on a severe directional wind, it can be drawn up into the ductwork, but every commercial building can do that too. Almost all of our HVAC is on the roof. And we've just done some major repairs to our HVAC units. We completed them late fall, because they've been problematic. So we did do those repairs, and they were expensive.
So that is something that's recently been addressed.
It was addressed in 3 of the major units, yes.
Terrific. Thank you.
I think there's a total of 5. We rehabilitated 3 of them.
Legislator Bush, did you have anything?
Yeah, the conversation just reinforces my view. Pull the plug on the place. It's not safe. I challenge any of you to go to that parking lot and try to walk 4 lanes of road to get to the building. You better damn well sure your knees are in good shape so you make it across. Otherwise, boom, you'll be one less voter. The floor, heaves. It's just time to look at finding a more adequate place to serve our constituents and the voters. Parking is essential, and the Board of Elections are getting busier year after year after year. It's going to continue. We hope they're busy, and you're right, and you got to have a place for people. And band-aiding everything, which I appreciate, but you just have to look at the long range.
So,
It's your committee.
no, please.
I think we would be open to any new place. I think the reality is we're here for the time being, and we have to fix this stuff now. But in any place that we go to, is going to take 1 year to 2 years to rehabilitate to serve our needs. We're not like a regular office. This place is still better than when we were at the 15th floor of the Civic Center, because voters complained about having to pay for parking, having to come upstairs, all of that. It's still better for that, but some of these other issues are still problematic. We would need a central location. We would need something with large amounts of facilities. One of the things that we're able to do, and I want to give props down to Douglas County, having this facility, a lot of our other boards of elections come there to do training in our training room, and they love that all the equipment is in one place. And it allows us to be as efficient as we are. We used to have a warehouse and a separate, and the 15th floor of the on-center, and that was an inefficient way to run a board of elections. Having everything in one place allows different employees to do different tasks in the same building on the same day. And so having a central location would be great. Having a place with a big enough warehouse for all of our equipment, and big enough parking, and something where it's accessible to everybody, near or around the center of our county would be wonderful. I would welcome it. It would just have to be the right place.
Yeah, to emphasize, we wouldn't take any replacement, it would have to fit the needs, because again, what he mentioned is that having the equipment on site saves time and money, because we're not shuffling people back and forth from an off-site warehouse to the main central office. That's important. So we would need a building with warehouse space and ample parking as well. So that is, will be jammed into that building across the street when we take possession back in the Civic Center. So it's something that I've had informal conversations with Commissioner Wixon about, but again, there aren't too many buildings available on the market right now that would fit all of our needs as well as the current location has. As far as I'm concerned, right.
So you're correct. In my opinion, you're correct. We had a very good deal when we bought the building. We self-performed all of the renovations with my own forces. We didn't contract anything out, except some minor items that, you know, my staff didn't have a specific skill set, like the controlling for the HVAC and things like that. But I think we did the whole thing back in 2011 for $1 million, right? Bought and then renovated, and, you know, that, it would be 10 times that now.
We also had HAVA funds that helped renovate some of that stuff too. If I remember, Commissioner Ryan told me that he used a lot of HAVA funds for the inside of the building that we don't have anymore. The HAVA funds are ours.
So he used those funds to fit out his different pieces of office equipment and things like that, but the actual brick and mortar and the systems and the purchase of the property, I guess, I don't know how you can come close. You can now. It would be an easy 10 times that right now, just in a, you know, just ballparking it. You know, we'll take care of any building that we have that supports any one of the departments that we have in the, you know, in the county.
Questions from the legislators? Commissioners, thank you very much. This item is not on the agenda. When we get the buying resolution, whenever that may come, we'll have you back.
Thank you.
Thank
Can't wait.
You can come every month if you want.
That's not gonna happen.
All right, Nicole, please, Chairwoman.
Hello. Legislator Bush hasn't heard my spiel yet, so I'm gonna repeat it. All right, everybody. So, as many of you have heard me say several times today, we are, as a legislature, of course, responsible for a variety of outside boards and commissions, committees, and otherwise, in terms of legislators sitting on them and or us appointing or confirming people to them. There are two main tracks that we bear that responsibility. One is by us appointing, which in most cases is the chair's technical responsibility. Sometimes it's minority and majority leader's responsibility. But no matter whether it's that track or the county executive appointing someone, putting them forward, in all cases, the entire legislature votes on these individuals. And it has been done a number of ways over the years. The way that we are going to be doing it this year is more connected to the committees. And so each one of these outside boards and commissions have been matched with one of the standing committees that are part of the legislature, so that we can have more kind of bear the weight to try to make sure we're getting the right people in these positions and stay connected to them once they're appointed to know what's going on. So for the facilities committee, I want to just review briefly the outside boards and commissions that are connected to this. It is in your packet. Forgive us, one ended up on here that was not supposed to, so it is crossed out. The ones that will in fact be a part of the facilities committee will be the capital program committee, which automatically has 3 legislators: the chair of the legislature, the chair of ways and means, and the chair of public works, which has been facilities in the last most recently, and then the vehicle use review board, and then 3 different facility legislative liaisons to the Rosamond Gifford Zoo, the Beaver Lake Nature Center, and the Erie Canal Museum. And so we, as I mentioned in the last few times, are still doing the research, so we're not ready to be voting on this or moving this forward today. However, just wanted to share the process that we're looking to use this year and to initiate collection of resumes. So we're looking to keep legislators if they're already sitting on a committee and they want to continue and that's workable, hoping to do that. It's bringing some continuity of kind of knowledge and institutional knowledge, but there are a number of different ones that are currently vacant and have not been filled. And so if you have someone in mind that you have a friend who just loves the zoo and would be an intelligent person to sit on that board, please send those resumes to John DeSantis on our staff. He is going to be gathering all of the resumes that any of us sent together, and then at the next committee meeting, we will have those ready for review for the committee to discuss who we should put forward in terms of those appointments, so we can get these vacancies filled across our county. Any questions? I have one question, just to clarify the minority leader and the majority leader appointments. Are those appointments you're saying now going to be those of the committee? No, they will not be. Thank you for clarifying that. So whenever it's the minority and majority leader, you all are still maintaining all of that,
This is specific to the ones that the chair appoints. So I'm looking for the committees to say, this is who we suggest that you appoint to this position. And then, unless there's some glaring something, that's my plan, is to move forward with who the committee believes should be in these roles. Great, thank you.
Can I see that?
Parks.
From the agenda packet, do you not have the agenda packet?
He just printed out the one out. That was online.
Establish a direct line of communication between the legislature and the commission. It's my understanding that past practice requires communications with commissioners to be routed through the executive's office and its staff. I'm not comfortable with that arrangement. In the spirit of democratic governance, the legislature is a co-equal branch of government, expressly designed to provide oversight and serve as a check on the administration's operations. The system in which the executive office controls what information is shared and which questions are permitted to be answered undermines the purpose of separate branches of government. I recognize that this practice places commissioners in a difficult position as they've been discouraged from engaging directly with legislators without prior approval. Nevertheless, I respectfully ask the administration to reconsider this approach and to allow commissioners to communicate directly with the legislature so that we may fulfill our elected responsibilities. And I'm fully aware that absent the executive's office agreement to change this operating procedure, the legislature has limited ability to compel compliance. As committee chair, my only procedural leverage would be to delay the advancement of committee items in an effort to encourage cooperation. However, I do not believe that that approach serves the public interest. I was elected by the people of Onondaga County to help oversee county government and ensure it is functioning transparently and effectively. Accordingly, I will move these agenda items forward in good faith as an effort to rise above partisan considerations and conduct the people's business. I respectfully ask the administration to meet that good faith effort by changing course and allowing open, direct communication between commissioners and legislators. And to that point, I sent you an email on the 5th.
Yeah.
Did not hear back.
Yep.
So, so just give us a quick rundown.
Sure, well, I thought, and good afternoon, everyone. Nice to, if I met any of you before, my name's Brian Kelly. I'm the Commissioner of the Parks Department. I think I've had the chance to meet and work with all of you, so nice to see everyone. Legislator Ryan, what I did, if this is okay with you, is I took your questions and I put them all down and I put answers down to all those questions. So if you'd like me to go through those one by one now.
Bang them up,
Give you
so
the-
we
okay.
can get to your items.
Okay, you got it, all right. So your first question was, what is the organizational structure, including key leadership positions and vacancies? Our structure at Parks, we have a main office, we have a commissioner, 2 deputy commissioners, 3 directors, 1 for recreation, 1 for administration, and 1 for operations. Our field staff, we have 17 different sites managed by 7 superintendents at various levels. We have a superintendent 1 title, a superintendent 2 title, and a superintendent 3 title. Superintendent 1 title typically oversees 1 facility. Superintendent 2 will oversee multiples, and a 3 will manage a whole district. We have a northern district of parks and a southern district of parks, and I'll kind of jump into that a little bit later in here. But that's kind of how the setup works in terms of our management out there. There's 92 full-time employees and up to another 150 part-time employees managing sites when we're fully staffed. The department consists of 6,500 acres of both parkland maintained and programmed, and several sites that are naturalized or have minimal maintenance responsibilities from our staff. We host over 2,000 programs a year annually, and our attendance is in the 3.5 million range for park users. The department has been highly successful in resource sharing and managing our parks as districts. The Southern District of Parks includes Highland Forest, Jamesville Beach, the Veterans Cemetery, Pratt's Falls, and Carpenter's Brook. The Northern District includes Onondaga Lake Park, including Long Branch, Oneida Shores, MBT Stadium, Hopkins Road, and Beaver Lake Nature Center. The zoo we keep standalone because of its scope and its mission. We have 45 full-time employees there and an animal collection of over 1,000, so they need to kind of stay there and take care of that living animal collection. We also oversee and maintain sites that aren't heavily programmed or are minimally maintained. We have Edgecliff Park over in Camillus. We have Indian Hill, the monument over in Manlius, a conservation area in Atisco, the Jordan Level in Jordan, and Spafford Forest. And we take care of those sites by the district that's the closest to each and every one of those facilities. things like that are usually neighbor issues, trees down, stuff like that. So our superintendents that are closer to that area will kind of take care of those items there. So that's kind of an overview of the department, how we do things, how we manage things, what parks are in the system. Second question was, what are the current operating and capital budgets, and how do expenditures compare to adopted levels? Our current operating budget for 2026 is $23,381,625. Our current capital budget is $3,460,000. Expenditures are really typically absorbed within our budget. We spend a lot of time. We put a lot of time into our budget preparation. Each manager has the ability to say, hey, this is what I need for the following year. So, you know, we take things like escalators and inflation into consideration, maybe a new staffing thing, but we've got the budget to the point, and it's done really well, in my opinion, of where not only can we live, but there's an opportunity for us to grow, and it's a great process that Steve and Christy and the team put together. So we do sometimes exceed, but the only place that typically happens is at the zoo. And we're subsidized by the Friends of the Zoo. So typically, if you'll look, it costs about $7.5 million a year to run the zoo, that we get from the county to run the zoo. It actually costs us about 10 or 11 every year, and that's where the Friends come in. They're a very helpful, viable program, a big 501c3 that helps a lot with that. So we're lucky enough to be able to lean on them to help with those situations. Next question was, what are the current staffing levels, authorized versus fill, and what work challenges exist? Staffing, we have 92 funded full-time positions, and we currently have 86 filled at this time. Our challenges aren't massive, but it's probably staff turnover at the lower levels of our operation. You know, the laborers and the grade 3s and the grade 5s. You know, we're seasonal, so people come and go often, and we kind of fight that because we're parks. People love to work for us, and they know that they're going to have a really neat situation on their hands, being able to see a lot of things, do a lot of cool different things in a lot of neat places. So we're able to replace those, but if I had any, thing, it's just we have some turnover at the lower levels. Next, what projects or initiatives have been completed recently or are underway as planned or planned? Project completed recently, pickleball courts at Onondaga Lake Park, a brand new boardwalk at Beaver Lake, boat launch at Oneida Shores, roofing on all our major buildings at the zoo. We repaved the East Shore Trail at Onondaga Lake Park. We put a new playground in at Highland Forest, and we replaced the penguin filtration tank and boilers in the main building at the zoo. Projects underway. I'm sure probably you've seen or heard about these because we've been talking about them for so much. We're putting a brand new turf super field facility out at Hopkins Road, and we're in the process of renovating our marina at Onondaga Lake Park. Planned projects. We have RFPs out right now for the construction and redesign of Oneida Shores Camp Bathhouse, restrooms and beach buildings, the Willow Bay parking lot at OLP, and the storage facility garage at Beaver Lake Nature Center. So we have RFPs out for those now. We're looking for engineers for that to come back, and then we'll start constructions on those. And then we'll get into February, and we'll be doing some more stuff. We'll be asking for bonding on a whole bunch of stuff. So at Carpenter's Brook, we're going to move forward with the engineering study on that Carpenter's Brook building. It's in here. Do you see it? We're going to do that this year. Beaver Lake Nature.
How many years old?
It's only 3 or 4, but it's happening.
No, but the building.
The building was 1930s.
Right.
Yeah, 1930s. At Beaver Lake Nature Center, we're going to pave the overflow lot. We have engineering design for a reconfiguration of the visitor center restrooms and classrooms. We're going to do some repair to the roofs. The total for those projects is up to $265,000. We're going to replace a sawmill roof at Highland Forest, another $200,000 project. Jamesville Beach, these are going to be great projects. We're installation of a splash pad. We're going to relocate our volleyball courts, and we're going to try and do some mitigation on the blue-green algae issue. But the splash pad kindly talks to the blue-green algae issue. We have to close that beach down often for blue-green algae, and unfortunately, it stays for a large amount of time once we get it. So the splash pad is just an idea to be able to keep our constituents and our community members cool off when that happens. And unfortunately, it typically happens at the end of the summer, and that's when we're the hottest. So this splash pad can mitigate some of those concerns from the constituents. At MPT Stadium, we're going to do some concrete repair and replacement. So at Rosamond Gifford Zoo this year, we don't have any projects planned because we're in the middle of a facilities assessment study being done by PGAV. This is a comprehensive approach to identifying major infrastructure and mechanical system needs and replacements. It's a systematic approach to identifying where our most problem areas are at the zoo, and will let us know when items need to be replaced and what priority to place on repairs and replacements. Once this study is complete, we'll incorporate these into the CIP plan for 27. And then we'll be coming down here to talk to you folks about how to strategize, how to prioritize, but we'll have a real living, breathing document that says in 27 you need a boiler, in 28 you need a roof, in 29 you need and we also juggle all the AZA. We're accredited by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. They require a lot for us to stay accredited. So all that stuff will factor into everything we're doing there. So that's just some of the stuff that, you know, we're going to be doing there. What are the most significant maintenance and capital needs? Aging infrastructure for sure, and mechanical systems of our buildings and facilities. We're addressing these systematically through the CIP, engineering studies, and the facility assessment plan that I just spoke of. But through those avenues, we'll address priorities of aging systems and infrastructure, and again, put together a plan so we can kind of get these things up to snuff for, you know, future years down to come. Last question, what policies, resources, or legislative actions would assist the department moving forward? I think we're in great shape. I mean, we have all these projects that are out there right now. If we can talk about these and work through them together, I think we're in good shape. But we're certainly pleased with the direction that we've been given by the county executive, his team, and the legislature. And you know, we're very happy to put the product that we do out there to the community. We think it's a damn good one. So,
Really appreciate that. That was great. Any
Thank you.
questions from the other legislators?
Great job, Mike.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you for always being so detail oriented. I was hoping that I saw something about a larger tram. You know, the spaces get taken up very quickly, and a lot with the, you know, organizations and our nonprofits who like to use that as part of their curriculum.
So we have an opportunity right now to get a grant for a brand new tram. The criteria, and our director of recreation, Lico Kiggins, is actually working on this with the team at Onondaga Lake Park to get a grant to get something bigger and something that's certainly more, you know, accommodating for everybody to use, for sure. But yeah, the wheelchair. So that's and those electric wheelchairs that we were talking about at Beaver Lake, that's happening. We've got the money for that. That's going to happen this year. So it's kind of part of that grant. Kind of looks at a lot of those things, but the tram's going to fall right into that. So
Thank you.
yeah, sure.
Great. Move on to your items.
Okay, all right, we'll get through these. Okay. First item here, to amend the 2026 county budget to accept grant funding from the Community Resiliency, Economic Sustainability, and Technology Program. Objective, the grant funding will support the purchase of React snowplow blades for use in county parks. These advanced cutting blades are designed to attach to our existing plows and feature a spring-loaded mechanism that allows them to better conform to the slope and contours of the surface. Compared to traditional stake blades, React blades are expected to improve surface clearing efficiency, potentially reducing the number of passes required and decreasing salt usage. This is a real fantastic, amend the budget by $50,000, but when we saw this come out, we worked with Senator Ryan's office and Soil and Water on this, and everybody thought right away, boy, this would be the perfect thing to plow the East Shore Trail with, where we have lights on, like we have to keep that clear of snow all winter long. So most of these blades will be used right at Onondaga Lake Park on that trail, and we'll see how they hold up at Onondaga Lake Park, and if they do well there, we'll ship them off to Highland Forest as well to kind of take care of that curvy contour surface area. We had a great press conference for this with Senator Ryan at Onondaga Lake Park, where we accepted the check, and we're looking forward to using these things.
Are these on the big trucks?
Yeah, on F-350. So not the big trucks that you'd see the DOT driving around. We put them on our 250s and 350s.
Are they the whole blade or just added to the existing?
This is the edge. It's the edge. It's like the blade on the bottom of the plow. So it's like a cutting edge on the bottom of the plow. Yep. Yep.
I'll make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed?
Great. Thank you. Next one is we'd like to amend the 2026 county budget to accept additional funding from the 2025 New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation for the snowmobile program. This grant funding provides financial assistance for the maintenance of approved snowmobile trail miles within Onondaga County. All funded trails must provide access to any snowmobile currently registered in New York State. We're a pass-through agency on this. We have been for probably 30 years now. It's a grant from New York State, but in order to issue it to the snowmobile clubs, it had to come through a municipality. County's that municipality, receives the grant, and then our comptroller's office disperses the checks to the local snowmobile clubs, and they can groom their trails and do what it is they need to do for their operations.
quick note, Ryan, on this was caught by Kyle, not by me.
Okay.
The language in the resolution, in the second sentence, says 146,212.
That's because the original was, had 100,000 already, and it was part of the grant budget, so we're only asking for the appropriation for the 46,000.
So it's correct. All right, perfect. All right, well, I appreciate double checking, thank you. Legislators, questions regarding snowmobile trails? Got any through the city of Syracuse?
No, no, we actually kind of drew the short straw on this one because we have about 3 miles, no, 2.5 miles of a trail that goes from the top end of Highland Forest. So that's how we drew the straw to receive the grant. Yeah.
Motion.
Second.
Bush.
Second.
Mayor Thompson, thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, great.
Okay, next one, sure. The next one, the purpose here is to create a full-time zoo veterinarian position at the Rosamond Gifford Zoo to replace the contractual position partially funded in the past by the Friends of the Zoo. This money has already been budgeted for in the 2026 operating budget. We just need to create the position. What happened was, a little history on this program. Cornell University used to take care of all of our veterinary needs at the zoo. As nice of a collaboration as that was, and still is with some of the bigger stuff, that program became focused more on the curriculum and the students than our animal collection. And as that started getting worse, the veterinarian at the time from Cornell was in conversations with our team, and we realized we needed a full-time zoo, a full-time veterinarian for our zoo and our animals, and also that is part of the AZA accreditation. We must have a full-time veterinarian on site. In order to make it a quick transition, because we did not have time when it happened in the middle of the year to live without the zoo, and we weren't fortunate enough. Right now we have an excellent vet tech and an excellent deputy veterinarian that are able to carry the load until we get this approved and go forward. But we didn't have time, so the Friends took that over. The Friends basically took that over, and this person became a Friends employee. We still paid for the position because the contract from Cornell went away, so we still had those monies, and it was just a quick transition. Unfortunately, our current veterinarian is having issues with her family. They're aging. She resigned and is moving back home, and this is the perfect time, as the money's budgeted, to add this position to our roster so we can take care of our animal collection.
Is there a financial change?
No. No.
Is this person going to be in the union?
What's that? No, they'll be MC. They'll be an MC, they'll be tested. We definitely want people taking tests for this. Yeah.
Question.
Yes, of course.
With regard to local efforts in the testing aspect, we still have to review that under civil service.
Okay. Yeah.
Whether or not, because it's a highly credentialed position, state civil service may not have the ability to test.
Oh, okay.
So we would submit, we'll see if it ends up being a testing position.
Perfect. Thanks, Carl.
Benefits and stuff? They get all that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Be a full county employee.
Thank you for that clarification, because I was gonna ask, what does this salary amount depend on the qualifications of them, or how do you know they're gonna get the 92 or 120?
Right, and again, as Carl said, you know,
Yes,
we know what the salary range is, you know, out there. As Carl just spoke, him and his team will go through it and, you know, flush that out and make sure that, you know, if it's tested or not, all that good stuff. So, what grade it is, all that stuff.
Yes.
We're saying it at grade 35.
Yep.
Understand.
So it is a grade 35. The ability to hire would be up to step 3 if, you know, if they need to hire at a higher step. As usual, they'd come back over here and look for an advanced step placement.
I don't know if you've gotten this far down the road, how competitive are getting these folks?
Well, it depends, you know, and we are blessed and lucky enough to have a really dynamite internal candidate who's at that deputy position right now, who meets all of those qualifications and then some. So we're hoping and praying that that person applies, and then from there, but there's places to go to get a pretty decent candidate pool. Again, we can advertise at the UGA, Carl can advertise countywide, and I think, you know, we would get some halfway decent applicants out of
I
this.
imagine anybody in the county that's qualified knows it's going to be open.
Yeah, yep. full-time position,
Professional veterinarian.
correct.
That pay scale does not look like it will meet the needs of what a veterinarian can, particularly that specialized.
It is, it's exactly what we paid the last vet that was there, and in speaking with,
Was that contract?
with no, oh, yeah, with the Friends of the Zoo, yeah, and then partly with us, but it's right with it, if you look at what the AZA and what these positions are paying at these zoos, that's right in line, directors aren't making much more than that. This position will be compensated just as much as our zoo director.
Speaking to that also, we did the research on that, and we did comparative analysis between other veterinarians at other comparable zoos, and determined that this is the appropriate grade for that position.
You said to the director, are we doing anything with that?
Yeah, we are interviewing. We're interviewing right now. We actually have 3 interviews on Friday. Yep, we have 3 interviews on Friday. Our interim director, Dan Meets, a candidate from California and a candidate from Colorado. Yep. Thank you.
I'll make a motion on that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Alrighty.
And last but not least, we have some property over in the town of Gaddis, 3.2 acres that we would like to bring into our portfolio. The New York State DOT reached out to us about this and said, hey, you know, we're gonna do something with this, but they typically, just similar to what Aqua did with us over at Carpenter's Brook, will reach out to us and see if we have any interest in it. Reason we do and always do is, you know, we're always about green space. We're always about keeping areas, you know, untouched if we can, especially if folks in the community are using that, you know, for whatever reason it may be, a walk, a place to go. I know there's some trails that are matted down back in this area, but it's 3.2 acres. We will not have any issues folding this up into our portfolio. It will be easy to take care of. You know, we'll go there in an emergency situation. We don't plan on programming it at all. We don't plan on, you know, advertising it that much. It's just an area that we're gonna keep forever wild, for lack of a better term, and let folks enjoy that. Yeah, and that's really it.
Was there ever discussion of how, certainly middle of the neighborhood, maybe opening it up for housing or anything like that?
Never, oh, go ahead.
I don't want to step on you.
Oh, I don't know if it was or it wasn't not brought to my attention. When I looked into this, you know, I just know that it was, you know, 3.2 acres that folks kind of wanted to be cut wild.
Sounds like you're familiar.
I was at the Gaddis Town Hall when they were talking about this parcel of land, and the neighbors, particularly who spoke that night, were all about making sure that it was not opened up for more housing.
Oh, okay.
They wanted to keep it wild because many people told stories of growing up and playing in those woods and their children doing the same. Many small kids were there to talk about all the birding that they do there. So.
Say they said bird watch.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. There were some questions about some people's backyards, in fact, encroaching into that territory, which is probably an issue for another day. But no, there was no.
Is there any
desire.
liability concerns with any of this?
I was going to ask.
No, I mean, not a lot. What we'll do, and we'll learn from experience here, is we'll survey that property immediately just to see what's what, and we're very used to. I mean, look at all the houses that surround Onondaga Lake Park, the most popular park in the county. 1.5 million people use it a year. We have trees that fall from neighbors' property sometimes on parkland or vice versa, and you know, we have a good way of working through those with our neighbors. A survey will help with that, but no, I don't see any liability whatsoever other than, you know, maybe a neighbor issue that's always easily worked out.
Any other questions from legislators? Anybody else?
We'll make that motion.
I was about to ask.
Yeah.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
I'd like to make a motion for that.
And I'll second. Oh, there you go.
Thanks.
It's right on the end of yours and mine, that's what it is, right there.
All in favor?
Appreciate
Aye.
it.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Yeah, of course.
Questions about concludes our agenda.
Of course.
Do I have a motion?
And I'm your right, I ran that place.
Second.
Is there a second parcel of land?
I
So I can help you
did that fall under that one?
It may have, it may have.
You know what, I thought there was a second.
Onondaga Boulevard, so I just want to make sure for clarity's
Let me
sake
know.
that that's
Absolutely.
included under that same
Yeah,
resolution.
why don't we ask- Brian, are there two parcels in that?
There
I think
was,
it's one on Onondaga Boulevard. I just want to make sure it's all in the same resolution.
yeah, it's on this,
Yeah.
there's two parts.
Okay,
Yeah, there, yeah,
They're
yeah.
not in the
It's
same-
not contiguous.
There was town of Onondaga, town of Gas, yeah, there was two.
Great,
resolutions.
thank you.
Yep, yep, you bet.
Motion? Second?
There you go.
All in favor?